providing evidences or testimony to the Fpac so that they can subscribe to the relevant oaths. Clerk, can you please proceed? No, clerk, to be fair, first identify those who will be doing presentation. If it is all, you subscribe.
Okay.
Because it will be unfair for someone to subscribe to the oaths, or affirm to the oaths if they would not be giving any evidence. Or Lord Mayor, is it that at some stage during the presentation, anybody can be part of it?
I think the lead is the Deputy CEO, Kajali Jane, on my right, and on my left, the Deputy Director of Finance, Rivnjai.
And in the middle, yourself as the mayor,
as
because
the mayor.
We will need you for the activity.
Absolutely.
Then we will excuse Mr. Bojang,
yes.
And then the three of you can. And at any moment that you might need him, then he would also take the oaths. Okay, thank you.
I.
Talib Bensouda.
Do hereby affirm that.
Do hereby affirm that.
I will speak the truth.
I will speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you very much. So, right now, we are to start with the presentation of the financial statements and the activity report together with the compliance report for the years 2019, 2020, 2021. From our records, it has been noted that we do not have the financial statements and the activity reports from the Kanifing Municipal Council for the years that have been mentioned earlier. So to the CEO and the Lord Mayor, can you really tell us what might be some of the underlying reasons why the Municipal Council was not able to really do the presentation to the National Assembly as per the schedule that was dispatched?
Thank you, Honorable. The council was audited 2019. That's the last audit we have, which was presented to the former select committee. But for the 20 and 2021, the audit is ongoing and yet to submit their reports. That's why we are waiting for the activity reports are ready, which are already printed. But I spoke to the clerk. He said that we have to wait for the complete set to produce all the reports alongside. That's why we couldn't produce those other reports. We are waiting for the audit and GPPA for their reports. GPPA have finished 2020. They are writing their report, while National Audit Office, they have finished their 2020 and 2021 audit, which they are working on the final statement, finalizing the report. So that's why we couldn't produce the reports.
Honorable members, before I proceed to NAO and GPPA, it has been reported by the Director of Finance of the Kanifing Municipal Council that they have did the presentation for the year ended 2019, and currently the years 2020 and 2021 are under preparation by the National Audit Office and GPPA. Do we have any questions or contributions to that before we go ahead and do verifications from those respective institutions? Okay, Honorable Champ.
Yeah, I think first of all, we should give them a time frame as we did with other institutions or with other councils. That normally, as the auditor said, normally it will take them 2 weeks before they finalize, and then also they will give them another approximately 1 week, 1 month to finish it, to complete it. Yes, for Fpac, we only have time from now against to the 11th of this month, the 11th of November rather. And I think we definitely need to have our reports and then of course do the consideration within that timeline. So the best thing would be we can still talk to the auditor as usual if he can shorten the time, unless if we will be able to receive it within from now on to the 11th, if possible. If not possible, then the committee can also consider giving extra time for them to send in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Cham. Honorable Jame?
We just allow the auditor to at least tell us how far, he's with the, whole process, and how can we get this thing, because right now we are running out of time. Yes. Because
Thank
the
you.
previous committee, I don't know whether it was, when you present, was it adopted, considered? Yes, because the same thing applies to Kerawan Area Council. So this time around, we're talking about the 2019, that's the benchmark, from 2019 coming down. It should all for possible consideration and adoption. So meaning we have to start from 2019 onwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jame. So now we'll establish the facts with the National Audit Office and the GVPA. So to the National Audit Office, let's start with 2019. KMC have reported that they have indeed did their presentation for the year ended 2019, and then according to their report, it was audited. So as per the mandate of the current Fpac committee, we are supposed to start from 2019 to 2021. But we would not repeat anything that was done and then considered. But to really accept that evidence, we will first do a background check with you. Let's start with 2019. What happened? Was it considered or was it presented?
The last KMC report was 2017-2019, because they were having an areas, and then we audited that areas, and they've discussed 2017 to 2019. The financial statement, just as you rightly said, the 2019 was discussed, though it was an adverse opinion like the other councils, and then what the previous assembly told them was like to go and work on those issues. So currently we are auditing the 2020, 2021, and then we will make confirmation on those 2019 issues, and then it will form as part of the prior year matters. We will give the update in the 2020, 2021 reports. Yeah, so the 2019 was discussed, but it was adverse, and then when we go back in our 2020, 2021, we will give the status, the update, the improvement, the status of those findings, the 2019.
Was it considered and adopted?
It was the same issue with all the councils. They will just ask them to go back and then work with auditors and then report back in the subsequent years. So yeah, that was.
Let's do some little triangulation with the Director of Finance. To the Director of Finance, was it the case that the Fpac committee of the 5th legislature did defy you and ask you to work on certain issues with regards to the 2019 accounts, and then subsequently it was to be presented at a later date for consideration? Was that the fact?
Yes, Your Honorable, that was the fact. We presented, and they asked, there were some issues which we all discussed here, and the Director of Audit is here, and then he explained the issue, that the challenges that we are having during that period. But currently, we have did all the recommendations that we were asked to do, and we have amended all the adjustments that require to be done to the accounts. Currently, we are almost finishing the financial statement with them. Thank you.
That was the Select Committee on Regional Governance, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so which means we'll pick it up from 2019, because it was not adopted. But as stated by the National Audit Office, during the audit exercise of 2020, they will deal with the prior period issues, which will definitely be 2019, and then they will come up with their recommendations. So now to the National Audit Office, how far are we with the 2020 and the 2021 audit exercise?
Yes, the 2020, 2021 is at the draft stage. I think I just have to buttress on this point again. The audit usually takes a longer period, but I think the good thing is the mayor and the team are here, the auditor are here, and then the National Assembly members are all here. This could have been completed, way back, but as I've mentioned, when you come to the public sector audit, at times these documentations or whatever takes a lot of time. I wasn't around last week, but I believe even the deputy director and his team were, always at the office. All these years, this past week, they are always at our office, bringing documentation, working back and forth, try to, adjust and just to make sure that we improve the system. But everything being equal, as we have discussed, next week the draft will go, and then we will give them 2 weeks for them to respond, and then we just finalize. But now, if the National Assembly gives us the deadline, then all of us are here, all the stakeholders are here, and then we can work in accordance with that and make sure that at least we do it within that period of time.
Honorable members, the National Audit Office is reporting that currently they are at the draft stage of finalizing the audited accounts for KMC for the years ended 2020 and 2021. And by next week, we'll establish a date before the end of this meeting. Next week, when? The National Audit Office need to give us that. When are they going to dispatch the draft audited financial statements to the management of KMC? And then also they are proposing a timeline of 2 weeks to receive the management responses from KMC. So before coming in, I would allow for your input to those 2 time frames.
Since the auditors are saying they're expecting to receive the management response from KMC in 2 weeks, I'll ask the Honorable Mayor of KMC, will it be possible for you to present the management report to the auditor's office within the time frame of 1 week at least, since we are also running out of time?
I think that's the responsibility of the CEO, but if the Parliament gives a deadline, they will adhere to it. The Director of Finance just asked me to appeal for 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think the 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. First, let's establish, you said next week. Next week is from Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Let's establish a day and a date. Then we can talk about the applicability of the 2 weeks. When exactly in next week do we expect the National Audit Office to dispatch the draft of the audited financial statements to Kanifing Municipal Council?
I'm sure by Wednesday, latest Wednesday, we will be able to send the draft, latest Wednesday. I'll make sure that I work with my team, and then latest Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday will be the 2nd. So, honorable members, to avoid any delays, now instead of the 2nd, we'll grant you up to the 5th. Is that okay? Up to Friday 4th.
Okay.
Wednesday is the 2nd.
Okay.
You are indicating that you can send it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
To avoid any delays and extension, now we'll give you up to Friday the 4th.
Yeah. Yeah. What the good thing is, they're here. For us, is the documentation. So at some point, if we don't receive, I think we will also stick with our deadline now. No. If you request for anything, if it is not there, then we will just finalize at that stage and then move on to make sure that we provide.
We'll get to that. Yeah. And then to the appeal of the Director of Finance, you appeal for 2 weeks. We'll be consistent. Instead of 2 weeks, we'll make it a month, just like what we did with Kerawan Area Council. Why are we doing this? We don't want further extensions. We don't want excuses. It is a system, and it is in our collective interest that we improve on it. The National Audit Office is asking up to the 2nd. We are giving them up to the 4th. The Director of Finance is asking for 2 weeks. We are giving him a month. Now to the mayor. Now it becomes your responsibility, because if the Finance and Public Accounts Committee, the main reason we are doing this accommodation is we are all cognizant of the fact that we are what indispensable partners in this. Our collective interest is to make sure that we improve on the public finance management framework. And this cannot be done without your input, without the consideration and the input of Parliament. We can come up with stiff deadlines, but who does it help? It doesn't help anybody. The National Audit Office is saying the only way they can stick to their deadline of the 4th is if at all they receive the evidences and documentation from KMC. So we expect the Director of Finance under your supervision to make sure that he does what he needs to do. Once they are done with that, the National Audit Office would dispatch their draft. When the draft comes, initially they give you 2 weeks. But we've set a precedence with Kerewan Area Council, and we want to treat all the area councils as what? Equals. So we are not going to break that precedence. So instead of 2 weeks now, we'll give you a month. So we are urging you to work with the team and ensure that by the end of that month, we have this report, because it is in our collective interest that the presentation and considerations are done within the scheduled time frame, so that collectively we can all what improve on the operations. Honorable members, unless and until we have any other additional inputs, and I would just like to announce the presence of Honorable Musa Cham. He was not with us when we were starting. He is the member for Serakunda, and also the presence of Honorable Keba Jalo, who also joined us later. He's also he's a corporate member in Fpac today, but he is the National Assembly member for Jara Central. Honorable members, do we have any observations? To GPA, how is the compliance report? Where are we?
I don't know, Honorable, there is something.
Okay, just allow any to complete, then you can comment.
The 2 weeks issue, I don't know, because normally we have in the draft now. We will send this draft to to KMC for them to respond. So we're giving them 2 weeks for them to respond. If they respond, then we will incorporate that response and finalize the report. So that's the 2 weeks I'm talking about. So the 1 month you're talking about, are you saying for us to conclude? Okay, that's fine, yeah, because maybe they might think maybe we, instead of us giving them 2 weeks, now it's 1 month for them to respond. Okay, then that's fine, just for clarity. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Subject Matter Specialist, Lord Mayor and team, and honorable members. Just want to confirm that KMC was reviewed for 2019 and the report was presented. For 2020, we completed the review and a draft completed and sent to them. There has been some delays because we went there, but we conflicted, our schedule conflicted with that of the auditors, and we have to reschedule them, but thank God they have been successfully reviewed and the draft report completed and sent to them. We are now awaiting their responses so that we finalize, and that is for 2020. Thank you.
What about 2021?
Have we started any 20? No, we have not started the 2021 reviews.
Honorable members, it has been reported by the GPPA that the compliance report for KMC for the year 2019 was finalized and then considered by the 5th legislature, and currently they have completed the draft of 2020 and they are yet to start the compliance for 2021. Do we have any observations to that effect, contributions or suggestions you might like to come up with? Yes, Honorable Cham.
Yes, the only thing will be let GPPA tell us when are they supposed to start the 2021 report.
GPPA?
What we may do is to look at the schedules, and based on your schedules, we prioritize. But otherwise, we have not started reviews for 2021 for any of the councils. But then when we go back, we look at the schedules and then probably see how possible it is to meet the deadlines that have been scheduled for the councils.
Okay. I think one thing, okay. Go ahead, Honorable Chan.
Yes, Mr. Sanyang, GPPA, can it also be within the same time frame so that at least we can do everything together?
Yes, we will try to do that. That is a month, as we already discussed for other council.
I think, Honorable Chair, the Fpac committee has to be very, very strict with the GPP at this time, because we've been having the same response from them at all times, and this is really delaying the work of the Fpac. I think we need to give them a specific time, or they're giving us the specific time that they will complete this work in order not to delay the committee as well, because we've been receiving the same comment at all times. Thank you.
Very, very good point. That's why, sorry, Director Sanya, we are talking about two things. I want to confirm the deadline you are subjecting yourself to. Is it in relation to 2020 or does it include 2021 as well? That's the confirmation I want.
What I said was the 2020 is completed and a draft stage. Already the draft is sent to them and we are awaiting their response. I'm referring to the 2021, which is not yet scheduled.
Okay. Honorable Cham did made a very good observation, and that's indeed where I was going. When we schedule institutions for presentation and consideration at the National Assembly, the set of reports we expect is the audited financial statement, which will express a true and fair view of their financial position, the activity report, and the compliance from GPPA. Are you together? So without the compliance from GPPA, you realize that a very important integral component of that review process will be missing. Right now, you asked about the schedule and priority of this committee. We have said it. Our priority is to finish all councils. That is our priority. So which means you know the priority of Fpac currently. That is the priority. Together. So we'll be considering the financial statements and activity reports of Kanifing Municipal Council. The Director of Finance did indicate that their activity state reports are done. NAO have given us within a month, they'll be done with both 2020 and 2021. So within a month, you'll be done with 2020. So which means by the time we reschedule KMC to appear, during the presentation and consideration, the only thing we'll have from GPPA will be the compliance report for 2020, and that of 2021 would not be there. So, Mr. Director, what do we do to make sure that the compliance report for 2021 will be equally what? Present.
Now, that is why I mentioned priority. We have a work plan, but based on the schedules that we have already discussed here with the auditors and others, that is going to be around 1 month from now. When we go back, we'll look at the work plan again and give priority to the council so that we will be able to meet the schedules or the deadlines as scheduled just now.
Director.
Yes.
Tell us, when are you starting the compliance report for KMC for 2021? Equally tell us, when will you finish with the final compliance report for 2020? We want to have a time frame. Then we would know that as per our schedule, all reports will be what? Provided and presented in full.
No, let me. Now, what I said was we have a work plan, and for the councils, it takes us about a week or so, or not less than a week. Sorry, not more than 2 weeks to review each of the councils. So at this moment, definitely it's going to be very difficult to tell you exactly when to go to KMC and when we're supposed to finish, when to draft the report and when they should respond and so on. That is why I said when we go back, we'll look at our work plan to ensure that these councils are scheduled and they are reviewed, so that by the deadline, we will be able to generate their reports as required.
Sorry, Honorable Jam, just a last one, I will allow you. Right now, as it stands, your work plan is not of priority. The work plan of Fpac takes precedence. To make it lighter, what I would say is correlate your work plan to the schedule of Fpac, so that when you appear here, you have something to present. But what is objective is the fact that your primary function is to bring those compliance reports here. So whatever work plan you have that does not produce the final reports here with regards to compliance, it is not working.
Sorry, Honorable,
so.
I think, let me make this clarification.
So give us a time frame. You know what is the problem here? We cannot operate in a vacuum. We need a time frame. Without a time frame, we will not skip that question.
Exactly.
Are we together? Okay, give us a time frame, and then we will all be held responsible to that time frame, then we move. But leaving it open and vague is unacceptable, to be really honest with you.
Exactly. Honorable, I think I have to make this clarification. When I talk about a time frame, it's not like the general time, when I talk about a work plan, it's not about the work plan of the GPPA in total. I'm referring to the compliance review timetable. We have a timetable, so that if you can allow us, when we go back, we look at the timetable and fix these institutions, and give them priority. Already, other institutions, including the public enterprises and all other institutions, are scheduled. But when we go back, we're going to revisit the timetable and reschedule these institutions that are in question, so that by the deadline that we agreed here, we would have review all of them, and reports are generated.
Honorable Cham Musa? No, take the mic, please. Yeah.
Oh, you want to comment?
Yes, you have really touched the area where I wanted to comment. I think we have, the last time during our interaction with GPPA, you are really causing delays in our reports here. This is not about you, this is about Fpac. You know, and I would like to ask you, what does it take for you to do that revision, compliance revision with the Kanifing Municipal Council? If they are to present their 2021 audited accounts, audited reports, then what does it take for you to do the compliance report? One.
Now, all what is needed is to schedule them from this date to this date. And like I said earlier, we have different teams, and we have timetables for all of them, for each of the institutions. And just to repeat what I have said, we have scheduled institutions. So when we go back, it's just a matter of taking the timetable and then prioritize these institutions that we have.
Already you have a team there at KMC.
No. We have teams scheduled, different teams scheduled for different institutions.
But you say that you have already sent a team to KMC for 2020.
That one is completed. They even have the draft. They have the draft with them.
Yeah, they have
we
the
are
draft
now
with
talking about 2021.
Yeah. But
And
can't you do it within the time frame given here,
I'm sorry.
simultaneously, both the 2020 and the 2021?
2020 is done.
Yeah, we know, but the 2021 report, that's what we are talking about here.
So Honorable want me to schedule them. All what I am saying is we have schedules. It's just a matter of, because I don't have the schedules with me here. So it's just a matter of looking at the schedule. Those institutions that we schedule will be removed and replaced by these other ones that we want to give priority to.
Then, Honorable Director, you have an answer for us. Since you are going to prioritize KMC, since you know that in your schedule, those institutions will be removed. Now, tell us the time frame. You've already worked on a schedule. You've already did it. Not so. And initially, you told us within 2 weeks you'll be able to complete it. Am I right or wrong?
You are right.
Thank you. And you've admitted the fact that when you go back, the institutions who are currently on the list, you remove them and place KMC. Not so?
Yes.
You've worked on a timetable. Give us a date. It's no longer difficult. You've done it already.
I think.
Give us a date, it becomes binding, we move towards it. That's all. No. Please, let him finish it. Please. Give us a date. The back and forth it's unnecessary. You've committed yourself by prioritizing KMC. You've given us a time frame when you can finish it, which means directly you've told us what you are going to do. What you are saying away from is giving us a date. You will give us one because you already did. If not, we'll give you a date. Give us a date, or based on what you've explained, we'll give you a date, then we move. So, give us one.
What I want to, the date that, I can give you a deadline that by the end of, or in 1 month time, we'll be able to give you the reports for KMC.
Honorable members, the Director of Operations is reporting that within a month's time, that should be around the 27th of November, they will have a report ready for KMC. Any observations on that?
Honorable Chair, I don't think for 1 month that GPP will report to this committee for the compliance report. That will not favor the Fpac committee, really. Let us remember that GPPA have been dragging us for quite a long period of time. There are some institutions who have already complained that GPPA have not been appearing to their offices for the audit. Really. So I think once he's not given us the time frame, and I think it's better for the committee to recommend the time given to him so that at least we can do everything the same time, because absolutely we're also running out of time, and we have time from now against to the 11th of November. So I think we can give him within that time for him to complete it. Otherwise, the committee should take a decision. Thank you.
Any honorable members, any further observation on that before we conclude?
Right now it's 2, because 2020 is already sent, which you expect to receive response from KM. So that one also we need to address that. Then with the 2021. So I don't know if we can get all these things together, so that it can make life easy for all of us. Thank you.
Now, the 2020 is already sent, and as I said earlier, we are awaiting their response. We can only finalize when we receive the final or their responses. So that although we can make a follow-up, but we are now awaiting for their listing. So for this other one have not started yet. Yes, we can try, and even if these people responded, we can wait and submit both of them together. That's not a problem with us. We don't have any problem with that. But we are awaiting their response or responses from the KMC before we finalize. And it will not take us even more than a day to finalize once we get the responses from them. The only problem now is the 2021.
No, with regards to the response from KMC to the compliance report, we'll discuss, we'll sort that out before the mayor leaves with his team. Now, what we need to establish is the 2021 that you will be doing, because we will do a full presentation and consideration here with regards to the financial statements, the activity reports, and the compliance report from you. Okay? So now, you've asked for 1 month. Honorable members have noted that that's too much. And as per your review schedule, you are asking double time. Because normally it takes you 2 weeks. A month is 4 weeks. You are asking double time. Practically, that's impossible. But I would seek the indulgence of honorable members to give you 3 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today, clerk, you can confirm the date for us. Let us know before we leave. We'll give you that date, and on that date, both the 2020 and the 2021 will be presented. And then to the CEO of KMC, how far with the compliance response with regards to the 2020 GPPA review?
It's true that we received a draft report from GPPA, and this was received yesterday. All right, and as soon as we received it, we started acting on it. So sorry before mid next week, because I personally went through the reports, but then later we got information from the same institution that they're going to send us another report. I think they themselves realized 1 or 2 issues concerning the draft report. And this was related to me this morning by the procurement manager as well as the deputy director of finance. So it may not be prudent for us to act on the one we received yesterday, but the sooner they send they are not I don't know how would I call it, not the final report, but the second draft. All right, you will start acting.
GPPA, can you confirm that? Let him just go. Can you confirm what he said? That you communicated to them again that you'll be sending a draft, another draft rather.
Now, sorry, I think, in fact, this is the very reason why I don't want to commit myself to give a date, because we have a special department responsible for compliance. So according to them, they got the information when? Today. Probably then we have already left, not communicated to me. That is not it's not to my knowledge anyway.
Who is the director of compliance at GPPA?
Tambura, Mr. Tambura is the director of compliance.
The last time you were here together with the DJ, what the chairperson and the members of Fpac did resolve was we do not only need representatives from GPPA, but we need GPPA's representation based on what objective is there and responsibility. People who can provide answers. And you are not doing that today. You are not providing us with answers. So the committee will resolve, and if it means that when you are coming, we will come with the director of compliance, that should be so. But before the team leaves, can you or your core staff go out and confirm from the director of compliance for us to know whether what KMC is saying is what I've obtained or not, so that we can make headway. Honorable Chair, you may come in.
Chair, I am seeing this whole issue that the GPPA is trying to rush the Area Council League, KMC. Since they know that they will be reporting, KMC will be reporting, or they will be presented their report today or whatsoever, and they have not fulfilled their mandate, what they were supposed to do anyway. So they were just trying to me, they were just trying to push or to rush, to put them in rush, so that at least they can also have something to say. Remember GPPA, we've asked them the last meeting, I think this was last week, when we asked them to come with the whole, with their entire management. GPPA have been reporting here that there was change of management. You know, they've been giving all sorts of excuses. And then the last time we asked them to come with the entire management, let the managing, DG be here, and of course Mr. Sanyang, I remember he wasn't here, and then there was an excuse from the lady, Aisatu, that Mr. Sanyang traveled, and of course the DG traveled. So I think they've trapped us enough. So I think the best thing is either we give them a timeline that they should present this compliance report, or the committee should take an action. Really, I think it's enough now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Any other observation from honorable members? Okay. So GPPA will give you the benefit of the doubt. Of course, the honorable member has very salient points. But as a committee, we will not preempt your motives. We will take it as your normal routine, and we'll take it that you did it objectively, and we'll take it that you are on the process based on what your schedule, unless and until the evidence provided before us proves otherwise. You know, but I will conclude with the CEO now. Provided GPPA gives you their final draft, let's call it a final draft now, how long will it take you to provide the management responses?
Remember, but then in the draft they gave us a timeline, which of course we do everything possible to fulfill that. So I don't know what will be the timeline for the final draft that we expecting.
Director, can you help us with that? What is the standard timeline for management responses with regards to your queries?
With regards to the draft they submitted yesterday, they are saying 5 days. They give us 5 days to respond. And it's possible to respond that draft within 5 days, obviously.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Director? The Director of Finance is confirming that based on the draft you sent them, they were given 5 days to respond. And it also confirmed that indeed they will be able to respond within that stipulated time. A, can you confirm for us that indeed 5 days is the deadline? And 2, should in case you have a response from the Director of Compliance, can you make it available to the committee?
Yes, normally we give 5 working days for institutions to respond to our queries. And when we receive them, it will not take us 2 days before we finalize, unless we have extra documentations that we may require, but otherwise it should not take us 2 days to respond. And he has just confirmed from the compliance team there that they observed or they made some observations, and then those observations need to be corrected before we finally send a draft. So, but hopefully it can be done today or tomorrow, hopefully.
Honorable members? It have been reported by GPPA, and they have alluded to the fact, as it was reported earlier on by the chairman of KMC, that indeed they are retrieving the initial draft that was dispatched to KMC, and a subsequent draft will be sent based on some observations they did. Any interventions to that effect? Yes, Honorable, I'm sorry, let's start with Honorable Cham there, and then we'll come to you.
Huh? You say that the process takes about 5 days. When you send it 5 working days, when they respond within 2 days, then the report will be complete. So it means actually that you need almost about 7 days to complete a report, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what you have just said here.
Exactly, yes.
And when we ask you about the 2021 report, you said we should give you 1 month.
Yes.
So how comes?
This other one, the review is already completed and a draft generated, sent to them, and they are given 5 days to respond. For the 2020, we have not started yet. 2021, we have not started yet. It may take us about a week to review and maybe a week to generate a report, about 5 working days for them to respond before we finalize. Yes, before we finalize. That is why I'm talking about probably about a month from now.
Okay, Honorable Cham, Fatoumata.
Honorable Chair, what GPPA have said, like, is like this will take them only 3 weeks for them to complete the process. 2 weeks for them to review, and then 5 days for the management. For the management response, and then also another 2 days for them to complete. So more or less, I think this can only be 2 weeks, 3 weeks rather. So if they can squeeze it, it depends. It's left to the management of for GPPA. You know, we are also in a tight situation. I think this should also motivate them for them to squeeze it and then reduce their time from 3 weeks, because what he's saying is like 3 weeks, because 2 weeks, 5 days, and then 2 days. That's 7 days plus 1 week plus 2 weeks. So that would be like 3 weeks, if I am right. And I think they should also consider the time frame that we're also rushing in. I think the best thing they could have done is for them also to consider the rush that the Fpac is also having now. At least this may even push them to work for an overtime in order to achieve the time what we're also rushing for. That's my opinion.
Thank you. I think we are almost at the conclusion now. And GPPA, let us say you have not sent any draft to KMC. A draft to be collected and sent again is like no submission. Okay? So we would not go with the back and forth on you giving us dates now. We will give you dates. Since you said maybe you will send it tomorrow, Fpac is saying resend your draft latest by tomorrow, and we will confirm with KMC whether you have received it, because the timeline we are going to draw will be based on the submission that you will be doing the submission tomorrow. You will send the draft tomorrow. That will be the 28th of this month. Okay? In your draft, the standard timeline is 5 days. Saturday, Sunday is weekend. Which means KMC as an institution will work on your draft from Monday to Friday of next week. And latest by next week, Monday, they should send in all their management responses. The clerk will work out the dates, and those dates will be what? Communicated to all the parties. And those deadlines will be adhered to what? Strictly. And tomorrow, as I said, we will do our internal verifications with KMC to ensure or to verify that whether indeed GPPA have sent in their report or not. And honorable members, if at all we do not have any further observations, I would just like to go briefly through what we've agreed on during this meeting and the timelines that were expressed. But that would only come subject to the fact that we do not have any further observations. So we've agreed that the National Audit Office would finalize the audited financial statements for Kanifing Municipal Council, given their proposed deadlines and the extensions given by Fpac. The audited financial statement for 2020 will be completed within a month's time, That will be latest by the 27th of November 2021. And we've also agreed that although the 2019 reports of Kanifing Municipal Council were presented to the 5th legislature, but they were not adopted based on the adverse opinion that was expressed by National Audit Office. So what will happen is the auditors during the audit work of 2020, they will work on the prior period audit queries, and they would provide the improvements or the remedial actions that were adopted by KMC. And during the subsequent presentation and consideration of 2021 and 2022, Fpac would consider and come up with their recommendations as they might be obtained in the prior period audit queries of 2019. And we have also agreed to the fact that GPPA will complete the 2020 compliance report for KMC on or before. Did you work out the date? Okay, we've also agreed that GPPA will finalize the compliance report for 2020 and 2021 for KMC on or before the 10th of November 2021. We are saying on or before the 10th of November 2021, given the fact that we have given you 3 weeks instead of the 4 weeks that you've asked for the 2021 reports to be completed. And to the management and staff of KMC, the Finance and Public Accounts Committee would communicate to you before the mid of next week as to when will be your next rescheduled date. But in conclusion, we like to really urge the municipality to work in hand in gloves with both the National Audit Office and GPPA to ensure that the documentations are provided, because that is the area they are also complaining. They are saying the only thing that can expedite their process is to make sure that they have access to those documentations, and access also is granted to them on a timely manner. So we are really urging you, because these are deadlines that the National Assembly will adhere to, being cognizant of the fact that at any point that a deadline was given, we indeed gave some extensions. 2 days were asked, we gave 4 days. 2 weeks was proposed, we gave 4 weeks. So we believe we've given enough room to make sure that all parties and actors within this particular process will definitely have the required time to do the needful. So on that note, honorable members, okay, the CEO.
Yes, and, no, what I mean, I think you're giving a 10 for the completion of both the 2020 and 2021 compliance report for KMC. But when we did some calculation here, if you revisit, it's not within the 3 weeks, but 2 weeks. Today is on the 27th. Yeah, so on the 10th will be 2 weeks. Yeah.
Thank you, CEO, for that. Okay, so the clerks have just confirmed that to me, that indeed you are right, the 10th will be exactly 2 weeks. So in that case, the deadline will be on the 18th of November instead of the 10th of November. Thank you very much. Yes, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman. Can I also appeal that any documents sent to KMC by both National Audit Office and GPPA, 2 copies be provided, 1 for the Office of the Mayor for the consumption of the Council, and 1 for the CEO for the administration, because the GPPA document was never sent to my office. Only 1 was sent to KMC. So if the Council is to provide oversight, it has to come through the Mayor's office for the consumption of our committees, so we can exercise oversight. But without knowledge of these documents, there is no way I can ensure they are responded to adequately. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. And to that, I think FPAC's position would be very minimal, because this has to deal with internal operations, which is obviously at the level of the mayor and the CEO, like to the document flow and the workflow within KMC. And again, to GDP as well, the other aspect we look at is what is the statutory requirement when we are dispatching these reports? Who is the report exactly sent to?
Actually, all what we do is to write to the head of the institution. But I think there is an oversight, because in most cases for other correspondences, when we write, mayor is always CC. So in this case, if we write to the CEO, we should also write or send a copy.
So GVP, you are taking the blame again.
No, that obviously we take the blame, because I think they are aware most of the correspondences sent to the CEO, the mayor will be CC. So if we send CC to the mayor, obviously it should also go with a copy. So it's an oversight, but it's a simple thing.
It's difficult. Sorry to interject.
All what he is requesting is a copy to be sent to him.
No, sorry to interject.
Okay.
It's not simple. It's very difficult. Because what the mayor said is very right. If he is not copied, he is not put on notice, he cannot perform his functions.
Yeah.
That is right. And you are confirming here that you never wrote to him, it was never CC to him, he didn't receive a copy. So now, what we are saying is, we have given timelines. And when the date for the submission of those reports arrive, we do not want to hear that, look, KMC didn't give us documentations, only for us to go to KMC and start to hold the mayor accountable, and the mayor would tell us, look, I didn't do this because I was never informed. So please go back to your correspondence. Whatever report was sent with regards to 2020 and was not CC'd to the mayor, make sure you CC the mayor and make sure you send him a hard copy. It's not simple, because based on that correspondence, he will assume his responsibilities. Okay, so will that be done?
Yes.
Thank you. Lord Mayor, your fears indeed will be addressed. Honorable members, do we have any further observations? On that, honorable members, we've come to the end of the sitting, and then we really want to say thank you to the Lord Mayor of KMC and the entire council. And as earlier on said, before the end of next week, the office of the clerk will definitely communicate to the office of the CEO and that of the Lord Mayor as to the next scheduled date. Honorable members, can I have an honorable member to move that this meeting be adjourned till Monday?
No.
Okay.
Till later.
Then what we will do is we will just release KMC and then we would continue with the Brikama Area Council. Thank you, Lord.
We'll take the schedules, compliance, and all the technical teams. We come together and then we give these other institutions priority. Even Abekela, we can open a team must go up and review the other